Should you dress up for an interview? Yes or no? The answer is yes. And when I say interview, I should clarify. I mean, should you dress up for an interview that's happening, remotely, right? You're doing it on Teams or Zoom or any other, teleconference tool. Um, my advice, speaking as a hiring manager, and speaking also someone who works with other candidates, right? Provide interview prep services, career coaching, stuff like that at the micro level to individuals. Um, please, you should definitely dress up for the interviews. And I hate to admit it, there is some bias in the industry. There is some bias in companies that are a little bit slow to kind of modernize or accept change, and that this is sort of the new ways of doing business. And I say this in December of 2022. I say this after almost, I think the end of 2019 is when COVID became a thing. So we have 3 full years anniversary where I'm saying that the world has still not accepted that COVID happened and that we are doing interviews remotely. It's unfortunate. It's disappointing, frankly. Um, and I'm very concerned that a lot of people say, yeah, just interview, just don't dress up. Right? Companies just care about what you can do for them, what you know, what you've accomplished. They don't care about how you look. No, your appearance does matter, right? How you look does matter. How you dress matters. It's sad. I don't like it. I don't even agree with it, but I know it. And it's just, I don't want to say fact everywhere, but it is common enough that it is a problem that I felt it was worth mentioning. I have been on panels where, at the end of it, we're just talking about the candidate, and I don't even think about the candidate beyond just their name, and you know their responses. Right. That's just it. Like I talk to them, I know their name, I know their response. I don't really look at them when they're on my screen. Like I'm just listening to their answers, and I'm taking some notes. Writing in the margins of their resume, and writing on the back of the resume if I printed it out, and just putting my notes down, like, hey, good answer to this question, or hey, kind of wish he elaborated on this. Maybe if follow up interview, or at the end of the interview have follow up questions so you can elaborate stuff like that. I don't really observe how they dress, and I don't care how they dress. I really don't like to have any obligation on candidates that they need to put in the work. But I can say that whenever we talk in our panels, unfortunately, it's never really said, "Oh, this guy dressed up. He's better than everyone else because they didn't dress up." But they usually say, "Oh, he presented very well. He presents very professionally." And what that means is, between the lines, if you read it, it's my gut feeling, because this is it's always the candidates who dress up. Is what they mean by that is just the person just put on a suit or a blazer or jacket or what have you. I advise people to dress up for interviews because unfortunately it gives you an edge. Um, I mean, fortunately, it gives you an edge, but unfortunately, it's necessary to give you an edge, and it's just really sad. But you do have to, present yourself professionally, put on, the business, formal attire. Um, it's annoying. You'll have better luck with startups if this is something you just don't want to do, or if you're someone who might not be in a position where you can't wear office type clothes. Just do the best that you can, but do know that it if you know people who interviewed at companies and they did just fine, just understand that this doesn't apply to all companies, this expectation. And also, there are some groups of people who are privileged enough that some of the rules or expectations don't apply to them. I unfortunately do not have that privilege. It is expected of me to kind of go the extra mile in order to kind of be considered at the same level as certain people who are more privileged than me. I've actually been watching over the last, my entire career, I was going to say last decade, where, there are privileged groups where, we, I might know someone from high school or someone from college, and we kind of just, we keep in touch, and I just see that their career accelerates a lot faster than mine. and there's no difference between us in terms of education, knowledge, content. I actually think I'm a little bit more educated than them because I keep up with my continuing education and professional development, the conferences. I consider myself a little bit more accomplished because I've done bigger projects than them. But I do have friends who are privileged because of their backgrounds, because of their ethnicity, and it's just a tad annoying when they have this privilege and they go like, yeah, I just interview at companies in my sweatshirt and I got the job, and anyone can wear a sweatshirt. And I'm just like, no, there's a lot of factors that come into play, and unfortunately, not everyone is so lucky. So if you have an interview, please do dress accordingly because you never know what will push you over the finish line. If you're one of the finalists, they're splitting hairs and they go like, you know what, everyone here has the same education or has same years of experience. Like, what do we do? Uh, you have no idea how often it's like, you know what, this person dressed up nicely. I know what they'll look like in the office because they dressed up for the interview. That's another thing. That's another thing is that one thing managers think about is, okay, when my candidates, when if I put them in front of the customer, how are they gonna look? Well, I can't imagine how she'll look in front of the customers because she just came in a t-shirt or whatever on the video. I don't know how he looks because again, he was wearing like um a sweatshirt or a jacket or like something. Like, I don't know how he'll look for a customer. I can't envision it in my head, right? But if there's some candidate who dress professionally, then they go like, okay, I know what he would look like in the office, right? Like, I know how he would look like in meetings. I know how he would look in a presentation. And yeah, because it's just easy for them to kind of picture what someone would look like in the office, they sometimes go with them. Um, of course, if they have the qualifications, it's usually at the end. This is like when they're splitting hairs, when they're just looking for one distinction. If someone presented professionally, if someone dressed in the business attire, they tend to lean that way. It sucks. I don't agree with it. That's not a practice that I follow. That's not even a practice that I respect. Um, but with that said, I hate to admit it. I actually do dress up for my interviews. Or I try to, um, but for the reason that uh, I just tend to interview for roles in bureaucratic enterprises or older enterprises who I know haven't really come around to the new ways of working. Um, and I can say that I see better traction when I'm able to dress up versus sometimes I'm traveling and I'm not able to have a blazer handy. I do see that the interview does not go as well, or I sometimes don't hear back after like a round or two, and I always say it's definitely because I didn't dress up the way they wanted me to. So dress up. I see great traction when I do it. I see great traction in the people I mentor, and I just hear it often enough that I know that even at the end of 2022, it's still an unspoken rule. And if people are having great, an easy time getting jobs or what have you, they might not be applying to competitive fields. They might be privileged for various reasons. They might just have some luck applying to a company that's a little bit more modern. Or it might just be that single department or that single team is just more accepting. But for the most part, enough of the market is a little older minded that it presents as a problem that was worth bringing up.